Dang status. Oh, no, I can't. What's up, Mission?
Yo,
Okay.
hello.
How are you doing?
I can't hear what you're saying.
Said, how are you doing? Oh, there he is.
Oh, I'm fine.
Good, good. Just trying to add my boy. He's rapping, bro. He's gonna be my next favorite rapper after Slim Shady. Like, sir,
Yeah.
just wait a minute. Someone called, so I had to end the call. Anyway, here's another question I wanted to get at. So you mentioned status, né, as being a very important thing, right? So if you are of a higher status out of whatever category you want to whatever category we're looking at, if your status is higher, né, then you're more likely to be listened to, right? And you're more likely going to have more benefits than anyone else that's at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
And you're less likely to then actually get anything that's negative. So you're safe at the top, right? Or
Yeah.
safer, right? So, for instance, again, like the example that you made, Bana, if you're a consultant, right? If you make a decision, you're more likely to be listened to based on it. If you're more likely to be listened to more than other people or the people that are underneath you, right? And then on top of
Mm.
that, if they're going to anything negative that's untoward, like I don't know, let's say a job cut, you're less likely to be cut, right? So people strive for that because of those things. So you strive for that because of the benefits and because it's not going to then affect you as much negatively. Né?
Mm.
Okay, so we cleared that up status wise. So now, so the I was trying to think, man, like the females or the women that even the guys that push all these narratives of that they know that it's not true, that they know that like it's to my benefit, and as long as I'm benefiting, I'm great, né? And they push those things, and like the racial activists and the gender activists and the whatever, all these people that are pushing all these things that yes, we want women empowerment because no one is more what do you call it? What did she say? No one is more. What did she say?
What?
Um,
When? I don't remember now
it's like
the entire thing.
the crazy
So I
stuff.
said,
Yeah.
in terms of hierarchy,
No,
ne?
no one is more oppressed than a black female,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So anyway, so when you try to push things like that, right, and you try to push narratives like that, do you think that that's the way that people try to then also get up a status chain? Because then again, as we mentioned now with the status chain, the higher you get, the better it is. So you then have a narrative, you push it, and then that's it. And if even if people then try to then tell you by extension, oh man, what you're saying is actually not true, you can't let it go because it defines who your status is. It defines who your identity is. Yeah, well, it's like a lecturer, for example, right? They fight all the time to be, I am going to lecture on women's rights. And then they realize that one day that, look, actually women have a lot of rights and they have no different, some rights they actually have better than men. So let's say then you start to challenge that and then they actually cannot accept it because it is their identity. And if they accept whatever you're saying, then they have to then relinquish that status quo that they're in, and then they have to come down. But when coming down then means that then you lose the benefits, right, that you acquire from being at the top, and you're likely to be less safer.
Okay,
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying.
But
I hear what you're
what?
saying.
But who says that if you accept a different idea, you're gonna lose the status?
yeah.
Those people
So
assume that.
yes, but then it also it depends obviously on the challenge that you have. So for example, again, it's like our lecturers. If they say to you, look, the knee is here and this is where the ankle is, right? And then you come by after a few years later and you go, look, actually the ankle actually starts there and starts here, and the knee starts there and starts there, right? Then they can say, look, that's not disproving what I'm saying. It's still in the same vicinity, and I know that whatever I had in those days, or whatever I had at that time, this is what I had. This is the best knowledge that I had. Now, when you're coming up with this thing, it's not disproving that, but it's adding on to it. So therefore, I'm not going to then lose a status quo. I'm actually probably going to gain something because now I have a bit more knowledge than I have previously.
Yeah.
But then if you say to them, look, this actually that you have told me, right, that black females are not the most oppressed people in the world, and everything that you have then been teaching me about black feminism is completely wrong, then you can't recover from that. Because it was the alternative.
But if you have that status in the first place, then you should be able to argue your position.
Yes, but what I'm saying, yeah, of course you can. But what I'm saying is, if you get to points then where you can't then argue a position if whatever you have is a complete opposite or something completely different.
Quickly. So in different departments, let's say politics, medicine, law, engineering, etc., it's slightly different, but you still have a lot of power as a person who got status or is in the top.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. I'll give you an example in politics and give you in medicine. In medicine, there are hierarchies. There's a student, there's an intern, there's an officer, there's a consultant. As an intern, you are mostly accountable for most of the stuff with patients. As a consultant, you are not accountable for most of the stuff, which is supposed to be the opposite, right? Because more experience means you should be accountable for more. But consultants do this much in terms of physicality of doing things to patients like examination, putting drips, pushing patients around to do stuff like CT scans, etc. Interns do almost everything, right? Because they are told to. And then something goes wrong. The consultant say is gonna tell you, I did my time. I was once an intern. I was once doing what you're doing. So therefore, it's your turn to do it. For me, I arrive in the morning for a ward round with patients. I just tell you, change this plan, do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. But those people are getting paid to be on duty for 24 hours, but they do almost nothing. You call them, they get pissed. Why call me at this time? But you're getting paid to be on duty. Like, what the fuck? You are getting paid to be on duty, but you want me to call you when I'm not sure what to do. You get what I'm saying? Right? So most of the decisions you make are actually more egocentric. That based on what you think. You're not trying to please anyone in medicine as a consultant. You are autocratic. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Now, in politics, it's slightly different. You know what's right. You want to win because you're going to lose votes. If you say, let's say, for example, KZN has a population of males to females of 70 to 30, it's an example, right? So meaning there are more females than males. And then there was this woman, let's say she was raped, and then now, in terms of the law, you are the mayor or premier or whoever is a leading person. Males are there, are saying, she chose to be raped. She was wearing short skirts. If you go there and side with the females, it means 30 to 70, right? 3 females and 10 men. Yeah, but you've won the vote in that province. Now, whatever decision you're going to make is going to determine your win next election, right? Guys are saying, 7 guys are saying she chose to be raped. She was wearing short skirts. 3 girls out of 10, 3 girls are saying, I didn't choose to be raped. Exactly, I was wearing what I want to wear. You know what's right to do, right? Is to side with the girls because they are right. But if you side with the girls, you're gonna lose the next election. Meaning you're gonna have 3 out of 10 votes. The other 7 people, the guys, are gonna vote for someone else who agrees with them. So therefore, your position is compromised based on your decision. Unlike in medicine, your position is held if you're against the people who are actually looking up to you. But in voting, it's different. Those people vote for you every 4 years, every 2 years. So you don't care about pleasing the other 3 females. You know what you said is wrong. You are siding with the guys, but you are protecting your position. These people are gonna vote for you. These 7 people are gonna vote for you. And there are only 10 people to vote. 7 guys and 3 girls. So
That's his network? Are you still here, Mish?
Yeah.
Maybe he's getting a call. It is. Joe. Say you back.
yeah, but so therefore now you are like shit. If you I side with the ladies, yeah, but about something that is right and you know it's right, I will lose my vote. But if I side with the niggas, I'm winning the next election because there's 7 of them out of 10 people here. Now put race out of it now. Let's put it based on idea. The people now it's 10 people, ne? Now it's not race, it's not gender. It's race basis. Now there are 7 black people, 3 white people, and the black people are saying, let's kill the white people. And you know, if you say let's not kill the white people, you're fighting with the white people, so therefore you're gonna lose vote. So you side with what? With the black people. Let's put race and gender aside now. Let's put an idea. There are some people who say, basically, I think we should go march to union buildings and stand there and say take our votes. The other 3 people are saying, no, man, that's not a waste energy, time, and also we have to be off work. Rather, let's do a petition, sign it, send it online, they will respond. Now, you know, the petition is better. It's less action, it's less violent, less likely to get shot and people get understand. Yeah, but it's usually easily and legalized without any hassle. But you're not gonna say that because 7 people who you know the ideas to go to annual buildings say let's go 7 out of 10. The other say let's go, let's petition. So you're gonna start with that with the ones who say let's march. Let's put now gender aside, let's put race aside, let's put idea aside. Now let's put area. Now you've got, let's say in Eastern Cape, right? You've got East London, you've got Mthatha, you've got King Williamstown, you've got the other areas in Mthatha in Eastern Cape, right? So out of the whole province, you've got about 7.
It's all the same place. It's all the same.
Yeah? Sorry?
It's all the same place. You ain't one.
Exactly. Anyway, you've got these 7 cities, right? In the province. Now, in these 7 cities, 4 cities are saying basically, at work, we shouldn't wear full shoes, basically, that have got showing toes and short skirts above the knees. Right? 4 out of 7. The other 3 are saying, no, you should wear whatever you want, you're comfortable with summer. So you should wear whatever you want. So you compare this, you're like, shit. If you side with those who say freedom of wearing of clothing at work with shoes showing toes and then skirts above the knees, that's 3 out of 7. But if you go with those that say the skirts must be below the knees, your toes mustn't show, then you're gonna win the next election. You're gonna 4 out of 3. So we show you right, I don't it's geographic. So therefore you're gonna go with what? With those who say long skirts, shoes covered in the toes. That's 4. Then we move that one aside as well. We add something else. Yeah, well, in this one, now we're gonna say basically it's based on what? On educational status. So therefore, there's got about 10 people who are uneducated who are saying, let's do this. And then you've got 11 people who are educated or who've got degrees who say we should employ based on degree. The other one I said we continue to employ based on experience, right? 11, 10. It doesn't matter who's which, but you're going to go with 11, right? Because they've got more votes to give you in the next election. Yeah, well, so that's the problem we have in terms of leaders. You will see leaders, and you know the person like, no, man, this doesn't sound like Chibambo. This doesn't sound like Aaron Mutweleti. Or this doesn't sound like this person. What are they thinking? And then you went to check the voting system. You're like, shit, god damn it. I see why he did it. If you look at the voting station, the things you were saying are in line with the things that those cities that voted for him like. So he was controlled based on his personal gain. He didn't do something right for the people. He did something to benefit him. You
And
know?
his
And
family.
then,
Yeah.
yes.
It's a job at the end of the day.
Controlling the leader.
It's a job.
Now, we've got the sixth one, which is basically departmental within the politics, right? So they've got Home Affairs, we've got Police Academy, we've got Traffic Department, etc. And you check which department is the biggest. And you align yourself with the ideas and the wishes of that department, which is the biggest. In our country, it's the policeman. Number 2, it goes to the traffic department. Number 3, it goes to be home affairs. Number 4, it goes to be education, etc. So you align the money that you're going to give based on those departments, right? Ideas or wants. And then you vote with them. That's how they select basically the political leaders. There's no qualification. Remember, in politics, there's no qualification needed to do anything. Person this year was the Department of Education. Next year, he's in labor laws. The following year, he's in police. The following year, I was like traffic, tourism. You're like, what? How many qualifications this person have? Yeah, well, they can shuffle around any way they want. There's no qualification, there's no experience needed. Malula is moving across all of them. He has no single a degree that say I'm qualified in this.
Which is also one of the funny things, right? Is that even if you are for, let's say, if you want to petition for female rights or black people rights, you know that the person that they've put there knows nothing about it, because this person has moved across the whole world, moved across all these things, and then he gets there, and then all he does is listen and says, okay, what do they want me to do, Abba? Well, here, 60% here want you to then at least say something about femicide. And then 40% actually want to debate it and figure out what's going on. Then you go, cool, I don't care what the 60% says. Cool, we're going with the 60%. And then what happens is you actually think when those people do it, you think, oh my gosh, my leader actually really understands what we're going through. And it's like, no, he doesn't. He's just there for a paycheck. He needs to take care of his kids. He needs to take care of his family, because if he chooses otherwise, what are you going to do? Still keep him as your leader?
Thank you.
Of course.
Do you know,
it's still a job.
Do you know why they bring groceries before the elections to the townships? Before voting, do you know why they bring groceries?
It's an incentive.
It's a
My
strategy.
leader feeds me.
Because
Yeah.
the majority of the people in that area need the groceries, are uneducated, they are poor, so therefore they will vote based on it's a strategy. So what they do is they move back, they send people who are what we call scouters. Right? They want to check the population in this area needs groceries. The population in this area needs the road. The population in this area needs water. The population in this area needs electricity. They provide all of those things a month before elections. It's a strategy. Yeah, but they provide all of that a week.
Yeah, that happens all of that happens all.
Week, a month before, has 60% of below of what they call the object poverty, meaning people who earn more than less than 2,000 in a month. That's called object poverty. It's very severe, right? So therefore, okay, let's know what they can't buy. They can't buy Kellogg's. They can't buy pumpkin. They can barely buy meat. Okay, let's give them rice as well. Maybe maize meal. Maybe oil as well would be nice. Let's take it them to their community. Let's not make them come to town. So therefore, we're saving money for transport. We're bringing them food. We're promising them. So therefore, in a black person who's uneducated or uninformed, so what they do is, okay, it's fine. NC has given me rice, veggies, oil, something I've not been given by anyone, anywhere else. One. Number two, they said they're going to fix the roads. Number three, they said they'll decrease the price for the bus to go to work, right? It's an incentive. It's a strategy that they use. They will never use the same strategy they use in Eastern Cape, in Western Cape. Never. It won't work because the standards. So they go to Eastern Cape, they do that.
The funny thing about that is that they actually need the potholes in East London.
what I'm saying? In
Because
Western
without
Cape,
the potholes, what are they going to fix?
Western Cape is mainly made, basically, the town side by students. So what do the students want? Let's go check this. Because the students actually of voting age. Anyone's university basically is of voting age legally because 18 above. There isn't one who's university who's below 18. If you're university below 18, something went wrong in your calculation because somebody started school at 6 years of age, somebody finished grade 12 at 18 of age. Anyone who's university below 18, something went wrong there. Simple. It makes no difference. When someone is young, that's not legal. Someone started school at 6 years of age. So therefore, anyone university can vote, number one. Okay, fine. Let's go to universities, colleges, right? So in colleges and universities, they're like, oh, okay. We see they want NFSAS. That's what they promised them. Yeah, but okay, NFSAS. What else they want? Lower rates of accommodation. What else they want? Maybe a second time for if they fail the exam. For example, I haven't paid my NFSAS. I've finished a long time. Because they promised me when I was there, hey, listen, nigga, we'll scratch your NFSAS. How much do you owe? I'm like, I owe 240,000. Like, don't worry about it. Just when I vote, everything was fine. Oh, my scholar, the guys who are leading us, basically. Yeah,
That's the
so
truth right there, boy.
Yeah, so they voted. So you know that University of Cape Town has a population basically of about above 10,000 students, right? Western Cape University, same thing. PE College, same thing. Small colleges in town, same thing. And then other people who are actually, some of them are in grade 12 or 18 years of age, right? So therefore, we're going to target them to grasp at least the idea. That's why you find you go in Eastern Cape, you find that the majority of youth is in DA, not in ANC. But go to Eastern Cape, DA is like this small, ANC is this big. Because what? The strategy that they're using, ANC knows that Eastern Cape is poor, will give them what they want for free. Food. Western Cape, you can't give them food. You give them what? The idea. You sell them the idea. Because these are educated people who are at academic level, who are actually has goals, who are struggling in one thing, likely money.
Yes, and that's exactly why that pothole, because in the Eastern Cape, if you have a pothole there, it doesn't make a big difference in Cape Town, for example, if you fix it. So okay, cool, you fix a pothole. We know that it's not something that's supposed to even be there. Where is the knowledge? Where are we going to go in the future? You need to sell us that. But in the Eastern Cape, I said, well, we know that majority of the people, they're not going to be students and they're not going to be as educated, for example. So even if to tell them, look, we're going to build the roads, that's enough. And then if you don't you can even put cement halfway and it's enough. You don't even have to fix the road.
The thing they promise, the thing saying, you can be both black, but educational status counts a lot when you're trying to impress me. Yeah, but that's why it's something with females. I'm sorry to ranging now. I'm going aside, but something with females. The type of females you date are based on the educational levels. Are gonna want different things. A girl who is not educated, who is not in school or dropped out, yeah, but will not want you basically to buy her PS saying I love you. They'll want flowers. They'll want a date. They want to go out. But the one who's from township,
they want two millions.
selfie, all that too. TikTok. You get what I'm saying? What university or educated? They will tell you, I know my way. They don't want to eat basically at KFC. They want to eat at Market and Bean. They want to eat at 5-star hotels. You get what I'm saying? They want dates. A township, Baba, buy Savannah, ice tropics, we are done. We are done. It's twins, my brother. It's just now educational level. So the approach will not be the same. That's the thing that they do in provincial approach. The wants and needs of Durban and the wants and needs of Eastern Cape are different. The wants and needs of Gauteng are totally different from Eastern Cape because there's poverty in Eastern Cape. Let's promise them something that you know that they want a road. What? Let's promise them something that they want a voting station. Oh, are you kidding me? Let's promise them something that they want, basically a bus that's going to take them with R1 less to go to town. How can you promise people that bullshit? In Cape Town, you can't do that. Those people actually advance. They do that stuff. So that we promise them are things like response to trauma, like those trauma units with psychologists. You know, after the strike, they normally could do that. They're like,
promise these movements as well.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like the ones of the Western Cape people are the same as the ones of the Eastern Cape people because of educational level, what they need. So the strategy is basically always going to be different. So that's why the
The problem,
leader
the issue with
assess
that,
that.
the issue with that is that it can come with an emotional response to say, well, no, no, there's no difference between the Eastern Cape and Cape Town, and it's like, my man, you can say that, but when you want to go and be educated, do you stay in the Eastern Cape, or would you go as a
Thank
first
you.
option and go to the? Yeah, well, so it's like
Thank you.
it's.
Do you get what I'm saying? For example, in Eastern Cape, in PE, let me give an example of PE in East London. There isn't a university where you can do medicine in PE, but it's a big city. It's the second big city in Eastern Cape, but there's no medicine, there's no health, there's no fees, or there's nothing.
There's no
You can
help.
do everything else except for this one, right? It's a big city. Mother City is a big city. Yeah, but
So there's
then
there's no
eh?
there's no health professional that's in PE from PE.
No, man, like that. Let's educator, so to speak. They're building it now in UPE, what is currently called NMMU, which is Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University, right? They're building it now, but there wasn't there. So there was gonna happen to the Eastern Cape people. They're gonna go and populate another province, another city. That's what's gonna happen. So therefore, education in our own place or our province will still be less because we don't have educational facilities. We are saying go to Gauteng to make it. There's actually a song that says that by Mpura Mpura. He says, I'll give you the life of Sentin. I'll give you the life of Pretoria. Yeah, but he's telling the truth because that's where the things are happening. All the resources, all the lands, all the food type, all the cars are sold in that province. But it's things that can be changed, but we don't want to change it because it's going to take time. It's going to lose a lot of money. It might even fail. So therefore, you go to where you're going to make what? Money. Gauteng, number 1. Number 2, Western Cape. Number 3, Durban or KZN. That's why we are told, even if they told him when I was young, they told me, if I make it, move out of the province. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, move out of the province. But I'm like, this is intentional. This is me. I'm like, yeah, if you want to be and chase after cows and stay at home, uneducated, stay. I left. I went to go to Western Cape. I started in Western Cape basically until I qualified. I went back to Western Cape. But then again, Western Cape ran out of posts. So I have to leave Eastern Cape again. Do you get what I'm saying? Because of corruption. I'm not saying white people don't do corruption. Oh, but they do way less. Yes. I will specialize in corruption. We specialize. It's so bad. Tell me if I'm wrong. How many people do you know who are in government who've been arrested or associated with corruption from government man? When I say government man, I mean the money that we pay tax for. How many who are white? Maybe one I've heard about the past 5 years, but more than 10 blacks. Not even for all people, but only ANC. I'll move to EFF, I'll move to UGM, etc., etc. I've never heard of DA saying we fired Busimai because he stole 2 million. We fired Steinhazen because he's suspected of stealing 1 million. In ANC, the premier, the mayor, and the minister, everyone is involved in a high. And listen, it's only one department in education only.
Did they build a stadium worth what, 10 million or 2? What's it, 1 billion?
Those people are criminals. But I think
1 billion with 1 chair in the stands for 1 fan.
No, I actually agree with what he's saying. Even though I think that we as black people are taken advantage of because we want to. We are still sort of sold in this long dream of black unity, black. So anyone that looks like a leader or that sounds smart, that sounds like a leader, we think is gonna come and solve our problems. While we should instead maybe even subdivide ourselves like in such a way that we the people that know, like you basically have to associate with the people that want the things that you want, and then from there then you can be able to define the leadership based on what you want and what your mission, the mission that you have as a group. Because I mean, in all honesty, black people want to be united, but they want different things. I mean,
Black people are like the females, are like the feminists of today.
exactly, because you find that in black people, you would be represented by Figile Mbalula, for example. The life that Figile Mbalula lives is not the life that I want to live, even if I were to be as rich as him. He wants different. The guy likes clothes, heavily brand clothes, and then he likes living the life that he wants to live. Of course, there's a life that I want, which is maybe also completely different from that. But then now, instead of saying, okay, now we want, instead of saying that, okay, because that guy is not a reflection of the life that I want to live, even if I were to have the resources that he has. But then right now, he's my leader. He's being tasked with what? With making sure that the roads and transport, my roads, like the roads that I drive on are okay. But then, and then also over and above, the problems that affect him are completely different from the problems that affect me. And then that happens in a lot of black people, even in black families as well. Because you'd find out, for example, that in a family, like I'll make an example with the family that I come from. You'd find that most of them, they like being in Eastern Cape, and then the things that they like things that are different from what I like. What I like, even how they make money is different from how I want to make money. So now the question is, should I now continue trying to change them to be me, or should I now continue trying to lead them and then with my values, or should I now leave and then go and then find my tribe? Like the people that they can be black, they can be white, they can be the people that I will share the common goal that I share. And then in those people, and then like for example, in those people, I believe that if we were to do that, then we would be able to say, okay, now we know that you want this, you want this, you want this, and what you want is the same as what I want. What you want is the same as what I want. Now, then we can be able to, for example, to define our leadership in those spaces. But then saying that, for example, you want Africa to unite and then have one leader, and then it's just not going to happen, because it's a dream that we all hope it will happen, but then it never happens. It never really happens anywhere, actually. For that to happen, people have to be homogeneous. They have to share the same values. They have to share the same values, maybe a common background or a common destination. It has to be like there has to be something that all the people agree on. Of course, there are always going to be differences. There's always going to be differences, but then it is easier to ignore those differences if the goal is common. The same thing with for example, with marriage. There are people who are married and you are like, these people don't even match. Like they would be lucky, for example, to go beyond 5 years because they want different things. The wife wants this kind of life, and then the husband wants this kind of life, and then they are supposed to now raise children together, and then it becomes a total mess because now they don't want it's not easy to find leadership if the goals and then the destination is different, because at the end of the day, the reason why we have leaders is so that we can reach a certain destination. But I think what is happening in Eastern Cape or in any province that is actually lagging, you find that the people, the leaders there don't even understand, don't even share the same goals with the people.
Okay. You see what you're saying now. Listen, Lungelo. He sounds like Martin Luther King. He's saying, even if I have the same resources as a person, I will not live the way they live. I understand that is your view, but I'm telling you, money changes people. Maybe because the same money as he has, you might change in terms of behavior. Because now I'm buying things I can afford.
It's fine. I may change. It's fine. I may change. But if I change, why should I continue to leave the people that I'm not helping to change? Why should I continue? If let's say, for example, my leader changed, why should I continue calling that person my leader if he's actually leading me to a different destination, or the destination that he reached is not the one that he promised me to take me to?
Yeah, the views
Here's
are
the
not
problem with
aligned.
that. I think we talked about this thing earlier, Lungelo. You remember talk about individual approach and the group
Yeah.
approach. The problem
Yeah.
is with that. If I'm ANC, even if I don't like Fikile Mbalula, he's my leader because I'm under ANC at the moment. I don't like what he's doing in his life, in his personal life, in approach, but I'm supporting the political party. So therefore, I'm under that route. So Muhammad Ali gave an example basically last night. He says, here I'm Muhammad Ali. I've got 1,000 white people that like me and cherish me. I've got 10,000 white people that hate me. So now if that 10,000 is coming to attack me and I've got a metal door in front of me I can close, should I think that this 1,000 that's here is going to surround me and create a ring and protect me, or should I just close the whole door and say all white people are the same? So therefore there are people actually who are doing good things and positive things as white people, but we can't ignore the 1,000 years of slavery, oppression, etc. That's why when you make a decision about the group, you generalize to make it easy for the approach. That's like Moleme is saying. He's not saying all white people are bad, but he's saying most people, white people are bad. The same approach they use about men are trash. They don't say some men are trash, some men are not trash. They say men are trash. Even though I know I'm not trash, and I will never say that I'm men are trash because I'm a man. I'll never say women are bitches because my mother is a woman. You get what I'm saying? I've got a different approach, but people use that approach so that it validates or it shows that this is the majority of what's happening in this time, and we must take note of it, basically. Because for me, I would say one thing: the approaches that we have currently, that I'm saying, leaders must, by all means, go back to roots. Leaders must, by all means, represent the idea of the majority. For example, a person who's youth supposed to do things that are youth, right? But they don't. They listen to what the political party wants. Yeah, they just. But for example, you can't have someone who's youth 34 years of age to your youth. You're not youth. No, you're not youth. It's just now ANC has no one to put in that position. They just shove you in because you're the youngest. You might be the dumbest person in the room, but the thing is, you are the youngest. They put you there. You get what I'm saying? All of us are here, and Lungelo is the youngest person here. He's 27 years of age. So we're like, who's the youngest person we can? Lungelo. We know he's the dumbest person we have in this room. Yeah, but we have no choice because we have to put someone who's young. That's the problem with the ANC. Yeah, but most people are putting positions because we want someone who's young to be in that position. We can't be putting Jacob Zuma under education. What is he gonna do? I don't think he even cares about the books, etc. Grandchildren now, etc. You know, we can't take someone who's like Utele and put them under tourism. He doesn't care about tourism. You must put them where there's force because he's like, yeah, Inkabi. You know, he's the force based. So.
But that's exactly what is happening in the ANC. That's why the party is so flawed. That's it. What you're explaining right now is exactly what is happening currently in that.
But unfortunately, at the current approach we have, I'm saying we can't change the current approach. The current approach, remember, doesn't want to take someone who's good, who's from DA to be the minister because the province is owned by ANC. Even though we know our person who's a leader is bullshit. But we can't take that one and say, okay, let's do some kind of control. Whatever they call it, collaboration. I think it's the word collaboration or coalition, something like that. Where they say, coalition. Where they say, okay, let's take your idea and my idea and combine it. Let's take my person and your person. Let's do this. For example, if they say this sport needs someone who's fast, Usain Bolt, but Usain Bolt is in UDM, right? In us, we've got Kata Semenya. But now Caster Semenya is not fast as Usain Bolt, but it's ANC and ANC rules. So now I'm going to put Caster Semenya, who we know is slower than Usain Bolt, but Usain Bolt is from UTM, but can lead us here. We need to win based on what? On running only. We just need running here. The kid goes basic of leadership. They'll be physical, emotional, they'll be mental, they'll be intellectual, etc. But in this one, we need physicality, which is basically running. And we know Usain Bolt from UTM is the fastest person. Caster Semenya is the one we have. It's not as fast. Yeah, so what are you going to do? Are you going to say, okay, let's call Caster Semenya out and put Usain Bolt? People don't want that. They want to come from ends, even though we don't have the resource. If it was intellectual basis, let's say Naledi Pando. Naledi Pando was the best in terms of education. She's educated, she understands things, she does approach. We're like, no, her term is over. Let's put her someone else. I'm like, what? Because that's what they do. You move around ANC regardless of what your ability is. Yeah, but in China, they've got this thing of called aptitude test. You know? They test you and they see what you are good at. And then if you are good in technology, you do technology from grade 9 to standard 7. If you are good in medicine, you do that from standard 7. Here, you must finish grade 12 first. And then you decide what you want to do. That's why people overseas there, when they
But
become
if
23.
they did an aptitude test, they did an aptitude test, everyone would score high on corruption.
I agree. But one term in corruption, Lungelo, we'll call it strategy approach. Yeah,
Strategic approach.
the word corruption, it means you are doing something illegal or that's against our rules. It's not in any book in any way. But the word corruption by definition
It's
something
illegal.
illegal or against our goals. Yeah, well,
there's one thing. Yeah. You know what I think, actually, speaking of corruption, I think that the biggest problem with our corruption is that it's not for the benefit of the group. That's the difficult. Because corruption, guys, if you are to remove morality from it and look at corruption, it's no different from violence. It can be used for good. It can be used for but let me not say can be used for good or bad. It can be used to benefit or to what do you call? What's the opposite of benefit? Yeah. So it can be used. Violence can be used for that. Corruption can also be used for that. And then, in fact, there's plenty of races that have of races and nations that have actually used corruption in order for them to benefit. Let's look at, for example, the Chinese people, the Chinese nation, for example. They decided that they are going to counterfeit every product, every authentic product that the world makes, and then they're going to steal those ideas, and then they're going to steal those ideas, make what build their nation based on that, and then they're going to sell it. And then they also decided that in whatever product that we make, we'll take, for example, mass production, and then we'll mass produce it, and after mass producing it, we are going to make three different layers of quality in whatever product that so that if you want an Adidas that is fake, then you can get it if you want Adidas for 200 rand, you can get it. You want one for 1,000 rand, you can get it. They can make it for. So basically, if you are to narrow down or to widen up the word corruption in the entire world, you can say that China has been a corrupt nation globally in a global sense. You see, but the difference is that what they did it so that they can benefit their nation. And then same thing with the story of Robin Hood. The problem that we have with the corruption of, even white people, with the European, for example, how they conquered the world, the British, it was corruption. It was all corruption what they did. But then what did they do? They did it to benefit themselves and then to benefit the group. Well, in the quest to do corruption for the benefit of the group, you also as the individual also benefit, and then even of course there are rewards. Corruption has rewards as well. I think the problem that we have in South Africa is that the corruption that is being done, the people that are doing the corruption, they are doing corruption to only benefit themselves, not even their families. That's the sad part. Not even their side chief, or maybe their side chicks. But yeah. But that is the problem. If the corruption was, because we all know of the state-sponsored terrorism. We all know of the state-sponsored drug dealing, like whereby actually the state is sort of hidden and then trying to sell the drugs so that they can pay. So I think the problem that we have in South Africa is that whatever, because I took more morality out of this, that meaning good or bad or whatever. I just looked at it from the point of benefit of what you call benefit, and whatever the opposite of benefit is. You see? So now that is the problem, because now we for example, what is happening in Zimbabwe? they did corruption. It was corruption. It was corruption. It was corrupt, for example, to go there and then claim other people's farms and then take people out. But then now, what they did after that, you not really say that you can't really say that the Zimbabweans benefited from that because they then got scattered all over the world and stuff like that. If that was goal oriented, and then if that was organized, and then if that was for the benefit of the group, maybe the Zimbabwean people would have been better, would have won. Colonization is also part of corruption. Apartheid is also part of corruption. And then the white people in South Africa, they benefited a lot from that. And I don't blame them, because if I was in a position to do what they did, I would have done it as well. Because I think most of our complaints come from the point that we were weak, and then we don't want to admit the fact that we were weak, and then we lost, and then we were beaten. We want to say that, oh, this was stolen, but then this was taken. It was taken in front of our eyes. Someone came and then beat us and won, and then turned us into slaves. That's what happened. And then we cannot grow.
You saw it, and the guy came and took it. It wasn't behind your back.
Yeah, you see, the only countries or the only nations that have actually grown out of a situation that we are in are these nations that had admitted that okay, we got beat up. Like, for example, the Japanese after World War II, they admitted that the Americans have they beat them up, and then Japan was ruled after they got bombed for the second time, and then they admitted that, and then after admitting, then they all accepted, and then from there they were on the path of rebuild. The same thing happened with Germany. Before you can actually win, before you can actually try to even do something, you have to wipe out the lies of the past. The land was not stolen. It was taken by force. That's what. And we lost.
That's the truth.
Yeah, if you wanna win, yeah, then you better accept that you lost, and then train, and then be strong, and then go and then fight, and then maybe you have a chance at winning. But then you cannot say that you cannot say that. And then some will come and say that, oh no, we were tricked. They were tricked. Okay. The fact that you were tricked means that you lost. If someone came and then sold you the spice and then took the entire crowd, you lost. Admit that. And then from there, maybe you can have some balls after that, and then start growing and then be something better. So the problem with our corruption is that it's not organized, and then it's also that it doesn't benefit the group. And then it benefits one person who's gonna drive 6 Ferraris while the entire family, even his kids, the baby mamas, everyone is hungry there. And then I drive 6. He gets a new girl every weekend. That is the problem that we have.
You know what? The more we're talking about this, I'm starting to realize maybe this is South Africa's way of creating their generational wealth. We're just stuck in we're just part of the starting point.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're gonna start, they're gonna be selfish, and it's gonna go on for generations, and eventually all people of color is gonna have generational wealth. Like the whites, it came from corruption. The same is going to happen for us.
Yeah.
So, corruption is actually created by conditions. So, because we are saying now, if you're on that time, right, you could have done corruption. Because who wouldn't?
Yes, wait, before you go, we're talking about stolen and taken.
Created for you to be corrupt.
Where's your TV? Was it stolen or taken? I just saw the frame there.
Yeah, well, you see, that's the one thing about it. Because people, if you look at movies, let's take Yizo, let's take Jerusalem, right? Most guys there who are trying to make it have to do what? Rob people, right? Gunpoint. Because what? It's bad on the room. It's bad in the house. Mommy's alone. There's no father. There's 4 of us. Somebody must bring meat. If he was Jerusalem, right? They start robbing people. So that being what? Corrupt. So the idea behind it was to what? Feed my family. The idea now is not actually corrupt based on that. It's greed. Those guys, those movies, if you watch those movies, if you watch Jerusalem, those movies, those guys, they rob and do those things so that they can feed their families, right?
Mm.
The current corruption is not that, it's greed.
Mhm.
Because these
Yeah.
people actually do have money. They want
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Imagine Malunga gets paid way more than me or way more than Lungelo, but Malungelo is qualified. Because of what? It's corruption. ANC political members who are not involved in the struggle, how can they be paid so much? They've
Oh,
got
it's
different degrees.
smart work. It's corruption,
It's
smart
because
work, or hard work.
house, come, gorilla, house, Yamasa, house. Like, okay, this one deserves 30,000 a month or 40,000 a month. Yeah, yeah, because you are moving people to parliamentary positions who have no qualifications. Only reason why you're moving them is because they were there to support you, number one. They were there to sing struggle songs, number two. And number three, they are willing to take the risk, basically, for the political party. But they have no qualification. So the point of education that we are trying to elicit or trying to enforce to people becomes non-fundamental in terms of like the way forward as progressive nation. But you know that if I'm into political party, I support the right political party, I win, I'll be in a position. Most of those guys who drive those guys don't know how does the seat feels like, how does the university seat feels like. Because most of them actually started in high school. But now they're in bigger position.
But you
For some,
can't take that hard work.
let's take
It's
GA.
very
Let's take
hard
GA.
work and it's dangerous.
Never went to college, never went to varsity. But he's a leader of the political party that can lead this country. He's never seen a
It's
varsity
also hard
level.
work.
It's just because he was there supporting Helen Zille. He was there supporting Musi Maimane. And now he's in position. As long as he's got opinion. Right? Same
It's
thing
still
we
hard
take
work.
from most political members. For some Jacob Zuma, he didn't get education. He didn't get anything. It's just because he was there. The point is, he was there supporting the right person at the right time. So therefore, we give them the position. We give them the money. We give them the respect. We give them everything. Right? Nothing to do with education. Zero. There's no political party member who says, I get educated in South Africa. I went from education in South Africa, then going to struggle. Taban Mbeki left when they were struggling. He ran away. So it doesn't count. He got a position because of his father. Yeah, but they think that this is inherited. Like in Fuzo, mother to child, father to child. Like, what the heck? Yeah, but it's not inherited to the sperm and the vagina and the ovaries. No, you have to work for it. But these families, like for example, look at this boy now, Jacob, who has to run for president because he thinks it runs in the family. Like, is it genes? No, it's not genes. You have to work for it. You have to prepare people. You must go education. You must have something fundamental, even if it's not actually politically related. But you must have seen education that you're going to promote for the youth. Because if you are there, you've never went to education, you won't see the value of education for varsity level or tertiary institution. You won't see the value because you've never suffered. You never actually felt what it feels to be in the varsity without funding. What it feels to be in the varsity basically discriminated against because of your skin color, because of your sex, or because of your race. You won't feel like, because in the political party, if you grew up with, for example, Mutulus Malema was always in ANC, he's always got something to say because nothing's going to happen to him. He doesn't know what it takes to punishment, to be grounded, to be sent off. Those things don't happen to them. It's like, come on, man, make it, put it down. He doesn't speak the way he's supposed to speak with people. He doesn't know those things. He has no idea those things exist. There's no way you communicate with people. There's a professional manner that you do that, right? He was always havoc. From young age, if you look at these videos, he was always want to be heard. There was no way. He never had an approach. Even now, he doesn't have an approach. He might say something right, but there is an element that if you went to college, there is a difference in you in communication. You can say a guy from Kas will speak with you. His knife will be open at the time he's speaking to you. You know that there's also a threat involved here. Yeah, but you see a guy you see, he wants to understand your anger. He wants to understand you. He wants to solve it like nice. He even say, "But my brother, listen, my brother. I am not your brother." For threat. You see, people want to fight each other solving the problems. Do you get what I'm saying? There's a big difference. Yeah, but so you're putting this position.
Yeah. But don't you think that the reason things are like that It's because fundamentally people do what works. It never really they never really care about the manner or the approach. Well, some care, but then at the end of the day, people are. I like to think that people are sort of results oriented, because the gassy guy who speaks to you with an open okapi, he knows that he's gonna get your attention. and then, and then for him that works. And then maybe for you, you know that you don't necessarily need to open the okapi for you to be able to be heard by this man or to get this man's attention. So maybe deep down people just decide, oh, this one works. Oh, if I open the knife, he shuts up and then I talk.
It's like putting a gun on the table. You didn't do anything. You didn't touch anyone. You just put it on the table.
So, in 2016, I went with Lungelo to the township Guguletu. Lungelo was arguing with this guy with an open window. This guy stopped the car in front of the Lungelo's car. I was inside. I had to go outside and go and stop this guy because he was going to knock this one out. Yeah, because you can from the car, you don't need to get out. This guy got out, went to Lungelo's window. So I have to go outside the car now in 2016. Go and rush to the other side. Because this one is that mentality of facility. Hi, man, you were wrong. I'm like, chill, when he didn't listen. That guy got out. He went to his
You have to get out to protect him.
Yeah. So
get out to protect him.
Yeah. So the same happens also with politics. With politics, Julius Malema has actually found an edge. He yells and then he talks and then he talks and yells, and then through that he has got an audience. People are willing to listen to him, whether he's going to tell a joke or whether he's going to tell them, and then so it works in a sense that, okay, we can say, because I have also evaluated my analysis of his this guy is rude, but then after some time I'm like, okay, he's rude, but why am I sitting here listening his video for like 30 minutes until it ends? Then I realized that no, maybe this is his marketing tool. This is how he sells, and then he has actually tried it many times and perfected to the point of whereby he actually admits that, to the point whereby he actually became an artist of it. And then he was like, oh, okay, so this works. And then now the question can be, what kind of people follow that maybe follow that leadership, or what kind of people, what quality of people, or prefer that, like maybe pay attention to such. And then in that, then we can debate about that. But then I think the effect of, because no different. I mean, if you go look down in history, you see the pictures of the videos of Hitler speaking. The guy was literally spitting. If you were next to him, you would need an umbrella just so that you can yourself from his saliva. I mean, the mic had to be cleaned. The mic he had to be cleaned so that they can remove the saliva. Because he was spitting. He was spitting, and then he also his approach was to appeal to the people's emotions. That he was to hack into people's emotions. He was to, in such a way that you would not sleep when that guy was talking. And then I think in the similar way, you can for example notice that when Malema is speaking, it's hard to sleep even if what he's saying is nonsense or good. So I think people at the end of the day, they just try other things and find that, oh, this one is not working. This one works, and then that's my load. I'm gonna stick it.
Without disturbing you, Neb, did you know Muhammad Ali, right? Muhammad Ali. If you look at Muhammad Ali, the first 4 fights of Muhammad Ali, he wasn't talking. He saw another guy speaking and getting attention, and then he adjusted his approach to get the press involved, to get more people to come and watch his boxing, so therefore to get higher ratings instead of money, right? So he ended up speaking. So after his fourth fight, you will see that Muhammad Ali changed his approach. He ended up saying, I will whoop his ass. I'm handsome and I can't be hit. Those things he observed for his name. He observed another guy that was speaking to get attention. A lot of people right now they've got this thing of having press conferences for fights. Because they want people to attract more people to come. For example, Conor McGregor with Floyd Mayweather. That fight was obvious bullshit because Floyd is a boxer. Conor is from MMA. So now you're gonna combine these guys with one guy who's a super professional, the other one has got zero experience in boxing. McGregor's gonna lose, but the way he hyped up, he has the highest votes ever seen and the highest rating in terms of money because of this. Now they don't only have one press conference. Now they've got 3 to attract more people because they want to make money. Because it's useless people to fight this empty in the stadium. How are you gonna pay the people?
It's useless. I did a massive small Chris, my battery's gonna die. I've never done it before.
It's fine.
I wanted to actually
but the thing is, I can tell you what, it works for the general population. People with the higher IQs, I'm telling you, they will listen. They're like, he's just making noise with this one.
But then the problem with the people with high IQs is that they control shit. They don't control anything. That's the problem. The people who are in real control of what is happening aren't really the smart people. They're the dumbest. They are very dumb. Yeah, they're actually there are people who can hack into people's emotions. Who can that has always been the quest for power. In fact, for you to be powerful, you must be influential, and then for you to be influential, you must be and you must make people feel in a certain way. But then now, if you look at the smart guy, that's why even with girls, the smart guys are actually very, very terrible with girls. That's why some will even and maybe die being virgins. Why? Because
for example,
because for example, when if you are smart, when you are presented with a problem, you have your mind sprints into almost over 5 solutions, and then now you are spoiled for choice. But then because you are spoiled for choice, and then decision and actions require you to actually have limited choices. For people to act, they actually have to have limited choices, not too many choices. So now you have got 5 choices, and then you're gonna spend 5 minutes trying to think which choice to actually make. Should I go to her? Should I approach her? Should I not approach her? If I approach her, she might say this, and then if she says this, what must I do? And then all these things happen. Basically, you freeze. But then the guy who doesn't give a shit, he's just gonna look at the girl, I like that, and then from there he's just gonna walk up to that. To him, it's either this or that. It's either she will say yes or no, and then if she says yes or no, and then from the, I think that's also where the link between the two happens, and then a person, anybody who can actually find a balance between the two, who can find a balance between action.
Sorry,
you know what you're saying. We can make it.
My phone's gonna die. We'll finish this conversation off either later or tomorrow. Once dead, it's on 2%.
Okay, let me just do one point.
We'll
so you know what you're saying, right?
We'll get into that, the smart and that and all of that, what intellect is, and I also wanted to have a medical debate as well. So yeah. Sorry for now. I have to go, boys.
Okay.
Okay.
Sharp.
All right, sharp, man.
Sure.